podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. The views expressed are those of the host and guests and do not constitute professional advice. We make no representations or warranties regarding the accuracy, completeness, or applicability of the content. Please consult qualified experts for specific guidance. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered legal, health, tax, or professional advice. Always consult a licensed professional for specific advice related to your situation. Hello, and welcome to the Real Life Topics Podcast. You know what? We are so excited that you are here and grateful that you are coming to hang out with us on today. Remember, if it is your first time, we just want to say thank you for hanging out with us today. Real Life Topics, a place where you are, ARE. We bring topics to you guys that are going to bring awareness, offer resilience and resolution, ultimately hoping that you would get to a place of evolution and keep on moving and growing. Hey, listen, get on in here. Let's talk today. Welcome to the Real Life Podcast. This is your host, Lakeisha Stevenson, a place where you are. Listen, we are here to bring awareness, provide resolution with the goal that you will experience evolution. Today, listen, I'm so excited to talk to you about this subject. I cannot wait to get into this today. I want to talk about runners. Yep, I'm gonna let it sink in. Runners. Listen, I know that so many things probably come to your mind when you think about the word runners. You might think about people that's running, in a race or running on the street or running to catch their bus. Or if you come from where I come from, grandma used to have runners in her living room, right? I grew up in Miami and grandma, over her carpet, there were runners. Some of you use table runners, all kind of runners, in your decorum. That is not what I'm talking about today. So we're going to talk about runners. What I'm talking about today is runners. And I am going to speak about this from the principle, from this vantage point of gardening. So, oh God, I can't wait to talk to y'all about this because I'm so excited. So I'm gardening, right? Now, let's just tell the truth. My husband really is the green thumb type person. So I love the fruit of it. I nurture it. I water them. But I really wasn't the one to start the garden, right? So he would prepare all of our trays and sit them in the basement and put lights on them. It's just really wonderful to watch. But I would always go outside with him and we would talk to the plants. And we always have the most amazing conversations in the garden. And oh God, some of the most spiritual conversations in the garden. So he was really busy and I was like, man, I want some vegetables and, I got to do this. So here I go. I start using all my stuff, planting my seeds, germinating them. I'm going to tell you the truth. Some of them did well. Some of them didn't. I had to start some of them over, but we have a garden nevertheless. So I'm growing this spaghetti squash. I don't know if you've ever tried spaghetti squash, but I really do like it. It is an awesome replacement if you like meals that use noodles. It has the look of noodles, just a little more transparent, but you can also make them a little more, firm, or you could bake it more. So you put that spaghetti squash in the oven and bake it, and then you just fork it out. So it's great for noodles. I've used it, with tomato sauce, with Alfredo type sauce, and it's really just a good meal. So I planted spaghetti squash, right? Holy, y'all listen. So the squash started growing. We had to move in the middle of this growth process. And I'm going to stay focused because that just makes me want to talk to you about another subject. We'll come back. We had to move in the middle of this growth process. And so the plants, got up really high. He had it on his trusses and then it had to go onto the the moving truck. And so we put it on. We were exhausted that night. So we left it on there. And I looked at him and I was like, is she going to be okay? Like, is the flower going to be okay? He was like, she'll be fine. I was like, what about the air that she needs? He was kind of laughing at me. But, I was thinking, my girl is sitting on this truck, close then. What, she used to sunlight, being able to be free or whatever. So we got her off the truck. She was leaning a little bit. Oh, y'all, she was leaning. So we put it in the garden, and I just kind of started noticing. I was like, honey, maybe she experienced a little bit of trauma. Maybe she experienced a little bit of trauma with this. He was like, maybe, we started seeing a little fungus on her leaves, and, she was still growing, but we was like, okay, we was having to pay a little bit more attention to her than what we were in the first setting that she was in. And I'm like, okay, she needs to, adjust. Y'all, we out at the garden, and here he go. Now, he know what he doing. So he looks at me and he says, she looks good, but you got to cut some of the runners. I was like, runners? He was like, yeah. You see where this fruit is? You see where this fruit is coming? We could see, the spaghetti squash coming in and growing in nicely. He said, you see where this is? You see where the energy, from the stem is coming off? You need to let that energy feed that fruit, and you need to cut off the runners. You need to cut off all of the other little branches that's not feeding the fruit. Now, let me tell y'all something. I was like, honey, I'm not going to be able to do that. She's so pretty. And I struggled with cutting off the excess. I struggled with cutting off the runners. He said, okay. He said, but you see that little one down there? It might not make it because the energy from all of the little ones that's not feeding the fruit, that little one down there might not make it. So I said, okay, I'm going to try it. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Y'all listen, he was right. Can I tell y'all he was right? I go out a few days and I look and I see this little one. It has literally turned brown. Y'all, let me tell y'all something. I went in the house and got them scissors so fast, and I started checking my fruit. I started looking where the spaghetti squash had blossomed and it had grown, and there was actually evidence of the fruit. So I traced the stem, back to that particular area of the vine, and everything else I start cutting around it. Now, y'all know that is the word of God. Right? There has to come to a point where there is pruning. And while I stood in that garden, I told y'all I have some of the most spiritual conversations in that garden. I stood in that garden and I repented. I said, Lord, forgive me for wanting quantity over quality. Listen, y'all don't be sitting here laughing at me because y'all know some of y'all need to have the same conversation. You see stuff moving and it's blossoming and you got a lot of people around you. Honey, some of them are runners sucking your energy dry. Yep, let's talk about the runners. So that runner so I got this fruit coming off and then I got all these other branches just coming off. So really the right side of my plant was really heavy with a lot of different streams and a lot of different branches. And I needed to prune some of them. I needed to cut them back because the sunlight, the nutrients that was coming from the soil was going all those different places. So it was thinning out what the actual fruit got. Ooh, I know. So I want you to think about you. Think about what's growing in your life. Are you giving it as much attention as it needs, or are you spreading yourself so thin that you're getting nutrients, you're getting vitamins, but it's not in the concentrated form that you need because there are runners on your life? Now, in healthcare, one of the things that I did, I was an ultrasound tech and I was a vascular ultrasound tech. So what I did, y'all, I looked at arteries and veins all day long. So this thing spoke to me. And I just remember when there was a main artery, let's say it was an aorta and, or a carotid artery. And then there were tributaries, other little small branches that was stealing the flow. Y'all, this thing made perfect sense to me. So I got so excited and I should have been able to heed his instruction when he gave it to me. Cause didn't I say he was the master at gardening? But you know what I got caught up in? How pretty my flower looked. It was so pretty. Oh, it was so pretty. It was so green. But the same thing that was pretty, that was green, it was growing, but was not growing at the capacity that it had because there were other little things stealing from the fruit. So instead of me having more fruit on my vine of my spaghetti squash, I had the 2 or 3 that was there, and then I had other potentials that was growing, but they weren't getting enough energy and they died off. So what am I left with? I had a pretty plant. I have fruit on my plant, but guess what? I could have more. That if in the proper timing, I would have just cut off the excess. If I would have cut off the excess in that timing, I would actually be yielding more fruit right now. Yeah. So you see why I needed to talk about the runners? Because sometimes we have runners in our life, runners in our focus. You are focused on one thing and you're giving it your energy, and then you let something come along and distract you and pull you away and take your energy. And instead of you giving that thing that's growing your full attention, you are distracted by a side thing. You are distracted by a little thing, that someone asks you to do or participate in, but it's not your main thing. You've got to give what's growing your attention. And you've got to thin out some of the areas where you gotta correct some of the areas where you have thinned yourself out because you spread so wide. Narrow is the way. So listen, we got to talk about the runners. It's necessary to talk about the runners. You got to check your fruit and trim off the things that are pulling energy from what's growing. Now, I want to be careful when I say cut off because, we're in such a culture where people just ready to cut off everything. Everything is not going to be cut off. Sometimes that's just us and our feelings and our emotions. But you do have to cut back and prune some things so that what you have blossoming can blossom even further. Listen. My name's Lakeisha Stevenson. This is the Real Lyfe Topics Podcast, a place where we come to bring awareness, revolution, and evolution to things that sometimes people don't want to talk about. But here we are. Listen, our goal is for you to live your life with intention, clarity, and direction. We thank you for listening today, and we'll see you, hear you the next time.